Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to the Empire. If you're passing by for the first time, please consider subscribing. This is a makeup and lifestyle channel, so we do makeup videos sometimes when you have time, and we also do vlogs here and there, and yeah, we talk about life and everything. So today, you guys, I have a interesting story, or is it rather an experience that I wanted to share with you guys. As for the title of this video, I want us to talk about how it was like being pregnant during a pandemic. Oh my goodness. So yeah, please stay tuned. If you're a new subscriber, thank you so much for coming through. If you are an OG, thank you so much for always loving my content and coming back. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, a thumbs up, that thumbs down if you want to, because that means you're still watching. Share this video and all that. So yeah, let's just get straight into this. So guys, first of all, the main challenge that was there when I was okay, if you're new here, I have two babies. I'm a mom of two, an 8-year-old girl and a 1-year-old boy who was born and was carried during the pandemic, during the COVID manenos, like when COVID just hit, baby was conceived. Actually, yeah, because COVID hit in March 2019 or what? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, kinda. And baby was conceived around there because he was born in December. No, let's go back. 2020. He was born in December 2020, so he was conceived around April 2020. Yeah, that's when the pandemic was. It was just starting in Kenya. So it was a shock, it was a surprise, it was just crazy. And the biggest challenge that I had, first of all, was the idea of finances. Okay, yeah, because now that meant that we had to reset. None of us, was working. We were just at home spending our savings, and baby was on the way. So we were like, what's going to happen? But we thank God that things unfolded. We actually ended up getting almost everything we wanted to get by the grace of God. Somehow we did manage, as much as we were just at home for close to 2 good years. What else? I wasn't earning, my hubby wasn't earning. I'm just telling you, it's just God. It's just the grace of God and just the favor that was just upon us and was upon the baby. Things just worked out the way they would have if there was no pandemic. All right, yeah, so that was number one. Number two, I'm short. I'm like 5'4". Okay, I'm not 5'4". Actually, I'm 4'5". 4 feet 5 inches tall. That shows you how short I am. And I'm quite tiny when I'm not breastfeeding and I'm not having a baby around and everything. I'm quite a tiny girl. Okay, so when I was pregnant, during that time in Kenya, most teenagers had dropped out of school. Like, not actually dropped out of school, like most teenagers were pregnant. Like, the survey showed that teenagers from maybe 9 years to close to 18 years, people who had not finished high school, most of them ladies, most of them were pregnant at that time. It was crazy because I would walk and people would stare. People will literally give me stare. I'm like, don't it show in my face like I'm old enough, I'm not a teenager. The people will stare as are like, hey, you're part of the number of people that are dropping out of school and pregnant and everything. I used to feel so bad because people would look at me and be like, hey, oh yeah, now who did this to that girl, such kind of things. Like, people would look at me and they would have this negative atmosphere around, especially when you're in a place where people are many, like when you're in town or you're just walking around in places that people don't know you. It was crazy. It was just crazy because people would just give me stares that suggested that I'm a school dropout and I'm still a baby, I'm not supposed to be pregnant, like whoever did that to me is such a bad person, like it's not unfair, that kind of look. Oh my god, it was just crazy. I don't know if you have been in that situation. Comment down below, let me know. Do people judge you by the size of how you look, and then they look at you and then they feel like you're too young to be in a certain space? People tend to mistake my age a lot. Like, when I'm not, right now I'm plump, right now I'm big, right now I look more mature, I look much more bigger and everything, but most cases I'm usually very tiny. Like, if you see me and my daughter, we're almost like the same size, so people would think that she's my sister. Actually, just the other day when we went to the hospital, somebody asked me, "Is that your sister?" I'm like, "No, that's my firstborn." She's like, "What? Your firstborn?" Yeah. So I get that a lot. I do like my body when I'm tiny. I like it so much. I like giving people such kind of confusion. Like, they don't really understand where to put you. I like it. I really love it. So I can't wait to get back to that body. So that was quite difficult because I had a lot of judgment. People were judging me. It didn't affect me that much, but at some point I had to like uh, argue the stares away. Like, just tell them to stop staring. Like, there's no big deal. At some point I had to prove my age. Yeah. Like, when I went for my antenatal visits, I had to like go with my first baby's book so that they actually know this is a gravida too, and I'm not like having the first child. It was crazy because they kept on asking my age. I'm like, "Are you sure this is your book?" So I had to give them my ID. Such kind of things actually did happen, so it was a bit crazy. All right. Um, the other thing that happened to me, how it was like being pregnant during that time, I actually wrote some things down so that I don't forget. Like, I was criticized a lot due to my height and my size, and it was just so much criticism. Then what happened is that when I started my antenatal visits, initially when I had my first baby, I went there when I was pregnant, 3 months pregnant. So I thought it would be the same. So I went when I was 3 months pregnant with my second baby. And it was a bit different because they will ask you actually at the door, how far are you? You're like 3 months. They're like, come back when you're like maybe 5 months, so that they reduce the amount of visits that you go to the hospital. So, but I had to insist and tell them, no, me, I want to start at 3 months. But now you see, Kitambo, you used to go like every month. When you start for 3 months, you go like every month until the last month. But when the pandemic hit, it had to be like you had to skip a month or two in between, so that you don't get yourselves that you are so many at the clinic at a specific time, and it will bring a lot of like crowd, and people are social distancing and all that. So the visits were reduced, so that meant less monitoring of how your baby is doing, which is very, very important. So that really was not quite a good space, because things can happen in between. Monthly checkups are good compared to you skipping months, because things can just happen in between. So if you skip a month, you wouldn't even know what has happened. Like, monitoring a baby on a monthly is it's good to monitor your pregnancy on a monthly. That is how I can put it. It's very nice to monitor your pregnancy on a monthly basis, okay? Because now examining yourself, the doctor examining you and just examining how the baby was, the amount of time they did that reduced. All right, so you find that you'll have to be so patient. If something happened to you, like if you felt like you needed to see a doctor, it will get so, if you don't have an appointment, it will get so hectic to see one, because every person had to be seen on an appointment, which was not as before. You just walk into a hospital and you would be attended to. It was quite difficult to be in that space when you're pregnant. It's very emotionally draining, I must say. The other thing was finding a hospital to deliver my baby in. That was crazy. That was crazy because, one, they were not admitting a huge number of people. I remember when I got to the hospital where I delivered my baby, they checked me and they were like, "How many centimeters dilated are you?" I got there when I was 8 centimeters. So this nurse was telling me, "You're very lucky you're 8 centimeters dilated, because if you were less than 6, if you were like a 4, a 3, I would have just sent you away, because we don't even have beds at the moment. So I'm even trying to figure out where I'm going to admit you." So there was like a triage bed. So I was at the triage bed where she measured me. She's like, "Hey, now you are 8 centimeters and I don't even know where I'm going to admit you, because we literally have no beds." But luckily, I don't know, somebody was being discharged. So I got a bed. Immediately somebody was discharged. Like, there were no beds. The hospital was full to capacity. And it happened, I had experiences with other people who actually say that most hospitals were really full. So most people gave birth. Even the private hospitals were full. Like, it was just crazy to find space to just give birth. And then, funny enough, people were pregnant that year. Way. I've never seen so many pregnant people. Like 2020, everyone was just giving birth left, right, and center. Like people are just pregnant. Like pandemic babies wako hivi. There's so many of us out there. So it was hard getting a hospital to just have your baby in and just getting space and a bed. It was crazy. And then I also didn't like the fact that visiting was limited. So if you had like a mother-in-law or your sisters or your brother, like no one else could visit you. It was only your spouse who was allowed to enter. So you only had one visitor a day, not even like a day. Like if he visited in the morning, that's it. Like there's no coming back. So it was so lonely. It was so boring. Like no one could bring you food. It was not even allowed for you to have food from home. Like you're trying to satisfy these cravings, it is not allowed. Like it was just not the best experience to be pregnant during that time and to have a baby during that time, because all this fun people get, like you're pregnant and your neighbors are coming, they're coming to carry the baby, you've delivered your baby, your friends are coming, people are just coming to enjoy the bundle of joy. There was nothing like that. It was just so lonely. It's just you and the baby the whole day. I actually even told them I wanted just to leave the next day after I had delivered. I wanted to leave, and it was on a Sunday. I wanted to go back home because it was so boring. Or just that whole Saturday, it was so boring because I delivered at around 1 a.m. 1 p.m. actually in the afternoon. So you can imagine that entire day, nobody is there. It's just hubby saw me for a few minutes, held the baby for like 10 minutes, and he was told to leave. That kind of situation. It was not so interesting. There was no bonding when the baby was born between him and the dad. It was not so interesting. I didn't like it. So it was just hectic because of social distance. That is, they didn't want so many people crowding at the same place. And then the most challenging thing that was there when I was pregnant during a pandemic was the what is it called, the lockdown and the checkup, the police checks and the barriers and all that. Because I remember there was a day I was craving for something, and it was very late at night, so we were walking. Not even craving, actually, I needed to have a walk because I hadn't walked the whole day and the house was just boring. I wanted to walk, so I told hubby to we go for a walk, and we hadn't checked the time. Oh, it was around 9. Thank God I was pregnant, because this policeman, because by the time we were almost home, it was 10 already. It was past curfew. Actually, that was what I meant, the curfew. So I remember this policeman just stopping him and calling him, telling him to come. um Luckily we had bought milk from a certain shop, so I was carrying milk and going. So this policeman was like, kuja hapa, because our house is close to a police station, so we had to pass that police station. So it was like, kuja hapa. So when he went, he was like, what are you doing, mnafanya nini nje usiku at this time, amjui kuna curfew nini, unafaa kuwa ndani. So I had to like tell the police, hey boss, I was craving for milk, why did they want to arrest? And I was like, me, my hubby, and my daughter. So my daughter, immediately the police called him, my daughter even started crying, and it was not, she started crying. I was like, relax, it's nothing big, he cannot be arrested. So he was just released because I was pregnant, you see. So it was not very pleasant, because if I was someone who gets shocked pretty fast, I would have gotten very, like tensed at that moment, and maybe something bad would have happened to the baby and such like stuff. So it was quite it was quite an intense moment to be pregnant, so to say. It was, yes. And then also those roadblocks, because there's a story I heard about a woman who actually lost her baby because of police roadblocks. Like she was in labor and the police turned their vehicle back, like the police wouldn't let them pass, and they were going to the hospital, you see. Like, I don't understand. And it was actually a police woman. So how don't you understand that someone is in labor and this is an emergency, and at its protocol we can't let you pass? We the lockdown, the curfew, it's past curfew, you can't pass, you can't go anywhere. It was just so bad. By the time this lady was getting help, the baby had already like died. The baby was so tired. So by the time she was delivering the baby, she ended up even delivering at a quack hospital, which ended up transferring her to another. That story was so sad. I felt so bad. Like if the police would have just opened that barricade for them to just pass and go to the hospital, that baby would have been saved. So now she just lost the baby like that because the police would not lift the barricade on the road to just let her pass and go and have a baby, and just look for a hospital and have a baby. So it wasn't fair at all. It was so bad. It was really, really bad. So that was another thing. I even, it right now is the moment I'm realizing, hey, thank God I didn't get labor at night, because I don't know what I would have done, you know. Thank God I got my labors in the morning and I was in the hospital, so it wasn't really nice. And I think there are so many scenarios where people have lost their baby because of that curfew issue. So after baby was born, now when your baby is born, when you start your clinical visits, especially here in Kenya, when the baby starts their immunizations, they go for clinic visits every month, all right, every month after they are born. But even when they don't have injections, they go there every month to be checked their weight, and they're given vitamins and all that. But now after the pandemic, when the pandemic hits, you will only be allowed to go when the baby has injections, okay, like 6 weeks, and then I think like a month and some, 2 months, like only when they're having injections. Like things like vitamins, height and weight are not really being taken serious. They're like, that's just a by the way, you can live without them at the moment, because we are trying to avoid the number of people that are coming in the hospital, and we're just trying to avoid, so many things. So you feel like sometimes maybe your baby would miss something that is supposed to be given, like the vitamins and everything, and maybe it's even important in the immune system. So that was very much affected. I didn't like that at all, but we thank God that baby is fine and he's doing fine and he's growing. I hope that there's no one whose baby has been affected due to such kind of things. There's some babies whose immune just messes up with them so much that if they don't get some certain type of vitamins at a specific time, it becomes crazy. That was really, really stressing. And then the other thing that I felt so bad was that I couldn't get visitors even at home. People feared coming to see the baby because they felt like they would maybe give baby infections or COVID and such like stuff, which is a good thing for them to care so much. But it was a lonely period. When you give birth, you always want people around you, just to help you around emotionally, just to give you that stability, just to make you feel like you're not the first person or this and this. Like having a baby it takes a toll on someone. So when you have like people around you, it just changes everything and just makes things a bit easier on you, and you don't feel so lonely. But I had none of that. Like I spent an entire almost 6 months and above, just me and my baby in the house all the time. Not going out, nothing, just staying. So it was quite hectic. So yeah, if you have experienced some of these crazy things that happened during a pandemic, please comment down below, let me know if any of these things have happened to you. How it was like if you were pregnant in 2020, how it was like, how you felt, how things were and all that. So yeah, I hope you guys, I just wanted to share that so that you don't feel alone, because the pandemic's still around and people are still pregnant, but at least now things have eased up, so you don't feel bad about the whole situation. But we thank God, because the further we've come is the greatest. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Please consider subscribing for more great content. I'm trying to upload 2 videos a week, a vlog and a sit down. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.